Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Swan Pricing Show. My name is Filip Vucic. I'm a pricing mentor, and
I'm Filip Zolota. I'm the CEO and the owner of growth marketing agency Mojo.
we are here today to talk about making options without affecting scope. So, in general, when a client says, "Oh, that's I wish I could, but I don't really have the budget," the default thing, the expected thing in the duck world, yeah. So with standard services is to say either, okay, yes sir, let's discount something, or the step above that is to say, okay, what don't you want? What can we remove from the scope so that you can pay less? When it works, it works. Sometimes it doesn't, because taking away from the whole means that you're either going to struggle to actually do something useful, or you're not going to struggle, but what you do is not going to be useful. And then the client is not going to be happy, right? So do you know example of such a thing, that client didn't want something that was actually needed and then couldn't really
Yeah,
use
that you
themselves?
can see quite often when you have a limited budget in marketing.
Yeah.
When client asks for marketing industry to provide entire help and support, consultancy, tech support, and everything else. In most occasions, you aren't able to do only small portion because it will be immediately affecting the end goal and the results.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem. You need to stick to the initial and optimal case scenario outline and service scope to properly create and generate planned results. So that is a good example for that specific situation, because it happens. Client come to you, they don't have adequate budget. Yeah, things cannot go forward without adequate service scope and with adequate budget size.
If a vehicle comes in with 4 busted tires and only has budget to fix 1 tire, it's not going to be effective to, yeah.
Yeah,
It's marginally better, yes, but still not useful, right?
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I understand this. So okay, so what's the solution then? The client doesn't want to or can't pay. You still want to provide a service, and there's no there's no scope, there's no room to make many changes to the scope in order to accommodate this. This is the point where many people just throw up their hands and say, okay, I'll discount, or okay, this is not a client for me. But there are other options, actually multiple options. So I'm going to do a first here at this one pricing show and present a model, something that was done for a book that I co-wrote with Klaus Rashted. And it's about charging less or charging more. So basically generating options without affecting scope. So the whole model is based upon the idea of having a 30-hour job. You can substitute this for basically anything. But it's a 30-hour job, so the scope is not going to change throughout this little presentation. But it's about the idea that a deal, an offer, has a monetary component, a monetary cost expressed, but it also has a convenience cost, risk cost, and ego cost. And what I mean by that, let's try convenience. So in all cases, there's a normal, let's say, deal. So let's say it's a software job and you say, yeah, I'll do it in a month for $3,000. Okay. And the client says, well, I don't have that much money. I only have 2 or something. You can say, okay, well, we can do 2, but only if I can work whenever I like. So there's no deadline. You should probably get it within a year, but I'm only going to work on Tuesday mornings or when somebody cancels. And so we can have a far away cutoff point at which, right, I can't say you may get it in the next 10 years. That's nothing. But within a year, within reason, you know, that's the opposite of hurry up scenario, right? So you pay less, a third less, but this is much more convenient for me. I can weave in more other projects, and so it's fine, right? There, like I said, I don't want to, or I cannot reduce the scope, so I can either drop you as a client or offer you something like this. And in many cases, they will say, yeah, okay, I can wait a little longer. I get it. I don't have the money. I can pay with convenience, with reduced convenience. We increase the convenience cost, and proportionally lower the monetary cost. Okay. Of course, there's the usual, do you want it in a week? Okay, then it's just 6,000 because I have to cancel everything else, right? I have to not sleep and not eat for a week, but you can get it for 6,000. Okay, so let's go by variations of offers by risk cost. You have the usual, okay, the client pays lump sum, but any maintenance is extra. Okay, once we have a workable version, and maybe the client says, no, that's not going to work. I think it will take less, or this or that. You can say, okay, look, if you take all of the risk, it's just $100 per hour, and it takes as long as it takes, and you pay how much it takes. You're probably going to pay more, but maybe you're going to pay less. I don't know. It's your risk. On the other side, I can say, do you want me to take all of the risk? So I take the development and any maintenance for a full year or whatever, 2 years. That's 7,000 because I'm taking all of the risk. And you are not going to pay a dime more than 7,000, however long it takes, however big the maintenance is, right? And then finally, something called ego cost. Let's say that you're dealing with a really small, I don't know, startup or somebody that said, like, I really need this, but I can't really wait for who knows how long, but I really only have $1,000. You can say, okay, I can develop this, but I'm going to make a public dev's diary, and I'm going to, talk about all of the dirty laundry about the data and about the process, and I'm going to basically use this as a content to get other clients, which will then compensate for not getting enough money from you. So I will actually get more money for this, but you're not going to be the one paying for it, right? Because usually clients say, no, you can't use my data. But if you're basically in a hurry and you don't have the money, then the only choice you have is to say, yeah, okay, or, just this little bit of data is proprietary because it's about the product, but anything else you can use. And you can say yes or no to that, or negotiate, whatever. Or on the other side, you can say, do you want me to do this so white label completely, as if you did all of the work, right? And that's fine. That's 8,000. And I never mentioned this as a reference, and you can always say that you did this, and I will never contradict you. That's part of the price, right? So these are like first level things, and then you can combine them as well. You can say, I don't know, I could do this for nothing for a startup or for an NGO or something, if I can only work on Tuesdays and I can use all of I can do an extended dev diary, right? Or I can say I could do it anonymously and in a week, but for 11,000. Base 3 plus 3 here plus 5 here, that's 11. So the same project, the same 30-hour job, the same scope. We just went from 0 to client pays 0 to client pays 11,000 without touching the scope, right? So this is a model which allows for much greater flexibility. So you lose less clients who are only searching for this or searching for that. And you also don't leave as much money on the table, because if somebody wants this done in a week, then you know, oh yeah, I should charge them much more for the reduced convenience cost, right? Or maybe there's a way in which they take more of the risk and this mitigates this, or I can use their data and this mitigates the fact that I have to cancel everything, but now I have enough material to feed into my social media for half a year. So these things can absolutely be combined without ever touching the scope. So before I close the model down, I mean, you saw it in the book, and we talked about it. So apart from software development, could you see use for this for some other expert service?
Absolutely. This can be directly embedded, and it's applicable in any expertise business, consultancy, marketing activities, branding, etc. And this model is great, as you mentioned, because you're practically retaining those clients who are not maybe in the ideal stage considering budget, but you can truly help them and support them and their business to thrive. This can also be greatly supported and combined with implementing also value-based pricing, result-based. So you can make a devilish combo and the setup according to all the attributes and elements, and do something which works for you and your client, respecting both scenario situations. And it is a prerequisite for setting up a proper foundation for long-term business cooperation. And this is great because there is a level of flexibility. It's clear, it's simple, and clients can decide which path they want to go. Especially, there are a massive amount of cases where people simply want to do business, do cooperation with you, but the major lack and problem is within the budget. This way, you are more agile, more flexible, and with combined case and scenario, it is beneficial for both sides to go and strive forward. Because especially when we are mentioning, and you mentioned previously, the startups, there are projects which are extremely potent, great perspective, but lack of funds initially. But with adequate help and support, combined this model with value-based pricing, result-based principle, and other options, because there are quite a bunch of them, it is an amazing playground and scenario which puts you in a driver's seat with your client, and it is practically being predetermined for success as a long-term business cooperation and partnership. So this is definitely great and can easily be applicable in any expertise niche, because the level of flexibility gives you that opportunity.
I think it's important to know where the levers are, right? So there's, I'm going to shut it here. There's a question that I often get is, if I can't compete on price, what else is there? What can I be? Okay, I can be high quality, but clients frequently don't understand high quality. So, what else is there? And it's important to know that the other levers are convenience, risk, and ego. Because you won't order, if you're in a hurry, you need a cab, you won't order the cheapest one if you know there's a bigger chance that they're going to be late.
Yeah.
Because the offset in the monetary price is not covered by the increase in convenience price. You're not going to send your kid to the cheapest dentist, the same case with risk. And you're not going to say okay to pay for your delivered sandwich by paying $0, but letting the delivery guy embarrass you in front of your whole office. So I mean, it would be cheaper monetary wise, but much more expensive on your ego. So those things are real. Those things are real. And if you see something like fast food, this is the increase in convenience that is something that is very hard to compete against. They don't have in some places that's cheap food. In some places it's not cheap food. It's just fast food, and convenience is what rules the day. So you absolutely can have a higher price than your going rate. We talked about that. And this is kind of the way you can say, okay, is your whole scope really necessary? Yes, you can rationalize it, but up to a point. And when you, with your experience, know that going lower by scope would be, you know, fixing one tire out of 4, then that's a hard limit. And you can still be flexible only by knowing that there's 3 more levers that you can pull: risk, convenience, and ego, right? If you don't know that the levers are there, then you say, I'm out of options. You actually have plenty of options. But you know, if in a duck world, in a commoditized space, everything is basically the same convenience. Everything is basically the same risk and ego cost. These things don't vary that much. So we're not really we're not really conscious of them existing. So the only thing that when we say cost, we mean monetary cost, that those things are one and the same. Not all the time. There's a reason why supermarkets chased off classic market shops where you could go in and ask the nice person to hand you the bread and the milk and the eggs. And they knew what was fresh, and they knew you and your dietary habits, and there was some merit to that, but supermarkets pushed them out by pure combining of greater convenience and price, because it's simply cheaper to operate this way. So there are some cases, but usually these things are fairly stable in commoditized services, but in some cases, in expertise based services, they are not. So if you have you know, good dentists are going to be fairly rare in the city. So if one is you know, 10 minutes of walking and the other one is half an hour drive, even if they have the same price, they don't cost the same. And it could seem strange if you just look at the monetary costs. Well, I have the same prices as that guy, right? Actually, they're like 10% lower and people still mostly go there. Yeah, because the convenience cost is much lower in that case. So his monetary price can be significantly higher. And all of them have cases like this, and they can be combined in these ways, right?
Yeah, and there is always, in addition to that, a perceived value from the client perspective. As you mentioned, the great example with the dentist. For me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I have mine who is helping me, supporting me, and he's the only option exists. And monetary window, it's completely irrelevant to me. Why? Because I trust that person, and that is strong proposition in conducting any business, health-wise, business-wise, business scaling-wise, you name it. And that is important parameter in setting up entire outline about the expertise-based services.
Absolutely, and you call him mine. Exactly. He's so there's an ego cost to switching your dentist, right? Because that's your dentist. I'm going to go a little overboard here, but it's part of your personality, right? You do this and that, and go fix your teeth there. He's yours, right? So even if somebody else was basically equal in everything else, he's not yours.
Yeah.
There's so yeah. Anyway, I think it's an interesting framework that can help in Swan pricing and give you much needed flexibility in because we're not, by and large, we're not talking to people leading factories where you can't steer because steering takes 6 months. These are mostly individuals or small companies, flexible, nimble. They can turn on a dime, and they can. That doesn't mean that they always should, because the straight line is always more effective. But this actually allows you to be more flexible and get more clients because you can get closer to them, closer to what they actually can pay in money, but also convenience, risk, and ego, and not just say, okay, yeah, it's basically the same. Whichever client comes, they either pay 3,000 or they pay nothing, right? No, there should be some flexibility, and to do that, you have to know where the levers are.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have a further example or question, or have we milked this enough?
I think we've milked it quite enough, at least at this point, because I have numerous examples which confirm the approach and methodology approach-wise. So, and we mentioned that already. Having a flexibility puts more food on your table, and not downsizing your value in terms of perception or quality, but you're simply flexible enough to do proper arrangement and engagement with your respectable clients and customers for both your sake, and it is beneficial for both sides. And that's it.
Cool. So, Philip, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn, also on my growth marketing agency page, moyo.agency, and my consultancy practice, moyo.consulting.
Cool. I can at last say that my new webpage, fearless-pricing.com, is fully operational. So we've come to that. And also, of course, on LinkedIn and multiple other social media, usually under Fearless Pricing. People, thank you again for your time and attention, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.